Early in April 2009, I was spending the holiday of a lifetime with my family in South Africa. We spent a few days in Cape Town and we travelled on from there to a wonderful water ski school called Mofam. It was located in the beautiful Elgin Valley. When we left Mofam, we flew to Port Elizabeth, and from there we made our way to the wonderful nature reserve called Lalabella. We spent 3 wonderful days at Lalabella, and we were taken on 2 game drives each day. The game drives lasted about 4 hours. The first began at 5 a.m. and the second began at 4 in the evening. Lalabella was absolutely amazing. We had a wonderful guide there called Alistair, who got us up close to the animals on each of the game drives.
She's hiding.
After 3 unforgettable days at Lalabella, we left by car to drive back the 700 or so kilometres to Cape Town. About 200 kilometres from Port Elizabeth, we arrived at the beautiful seaside town of Plettenberg Bay. It had a beautiful beach and there were lots of activities nearby, so we decided to spend a couple of days there. We were at the beach on the afternoon of Thursday, April 9th, when this piece of film was shot. I decided to go for a swim at around 3:30 that afternoon. The water was lovely and I was really enjoying my first dip in the Indian Ocean. I tried to swim in on top of a wave and I was immediately sucked into the wave and thrown with great force onto the bottom. Such was the force of the impact that I was immediately paralysed from the neck down. I was under the water and unable to move a muscle, only yards away from where my family were sitting on the beach. When I started to take water into my lungs, I thought that was where I was going to die. Luckily for me, I was spotted by 2 young boys who raised the alarm and pulled me out of the water. I remained conscious throughout the entire ordeal. The feeling returned to my body and my limbs within a matter of a couple of hours, and I was moved by ambulance to Knysna Hospital. I spent 2 days in the intensive care unit there, where they discovered that I had a triple fracture of my C1 vertebrae. I spent almost 3 weeks at Knysna Hospital. I could not speak highly enough of the wonderful care I received there from the doctors and the nurses, and indeed from all the staff. My day started at 5 a.m. My physiotherapist arrived at 6 a.m. and brought me through my physiotherapy. The doctors were usually there at around 8 a.m. 10 days into my stay, the doctors discovered that the peg on number 2 vertebrae had moved and that this would require surgery. I had the surgery to put a screw into my vertebrae and I continued with my recovery. Almost 3 weeks after the accident, I was ready to return home to Ireland. What happened to me was a simple thing that could easily have been avoided if I had stopped and taken the time to read the signs on the beach. When my son returned to Australia after this trip, he discovered that dumping waves were the largest cause of paralysis in Australia. I would strongly advise anybody watching this video to steer well clear of dumping waves and rip currents in any part of the world.